Welcome to the Athletes in Motion podcast, from race to recovery, with your hosts, Tom Riegel and Kenny Bailey.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Kenny, how are you?
I am fantastic. We have Elizabeth with us, the proud finisher of Ironman California.
In the house.
Congratulations.
Yes.
In the house. There it is. It's a fit. Look at that. Yeah. Awesome. So, woo.
Nice.
How you feeling?
Yeah, I feel like I can hardly hear you guys, but I don't know.
Uh-oh.
With all my technical difficulties over here, who knows? So,
Okay.
We can shout.
We'll just start talking and then we'll
Okay.
just
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go
it's like
from
I
there.
can hear you, but not as clearly as I normally can. So
Okay.
it's a different computer, but that's okay.
Okay.
So
First off, how do you feel?
everything feels great except for issues from the rain. Let's just put it that way.
Wow. Not expected, huh?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Rain in California.
Yeah, well, let's just say there was a point where Kenny's name became a very bad word. And I think I said, damn it, Kenny, because he said, I would rather have rain than wind. Rain
Oh,
is
I did say that,
great.
didn't I?
Yes,
I did
you
say that. Sorry.
Oops.
Let's just say Kenny's name was in my mouth a lot.
Whatever motivation you need to get through it, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you need to use me as that damn Kenny, then rain, huh? Likes the rain, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, first off, congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got across the line. Absolutely. I was tracking you all day. Your swim was ridiculous.
It was awesome.
Your bike was solid, and then we hit it. So we want to go through the whole thing, but
Yeah.
first and foremost, we know you got across the line. We know you didn't get across the line on the allotted time, but nobody gives a shit because you got the medal. You did a 140.6. You are absolutely the embodiment of an Ironman. So
you did the mileage. You did it in
that's beautiful.
wicked conditions. Wow, they
You
did
like
a really
it?
nice
You were
job.
See, I
This
got that's
year?
mine. That's
Well, they
not
stopped
nearly
doing the
as good
cookie
as
cutter
yours.
one, I guess.
I-
Huh?
I
I guess it
know,
didn't
I-
work for him.
I really do think mine's better than yours.
I do too. That
Kenny, you're gonna have to go back now. Just saying.
I'm just saying. So torrential rain. Just to recap the 3 years in a row for Sacramento. Right. Beautiful weather the
Here
day
we go,
before.
too.
There you
Look
go.
at that.
Okay, there you go.
Fact, okay.
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go.
So,
Been some-
beautiful weather the first time they do it, bomb cyclone. Beautiful weather when the day before they do it, 40, 50 mile an hour winds. Beautiful weather on Saturday. You guys get rain and nasty, and then it's beautiful on Monday. So California is absolutely doomed when it comes to races.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. You got there. You're feeling good. Obviously, the swim was ridiculously fast. Were you expecting the swim to be that fast?
No, I figured it was going to be what I was expecting from the prior few weeks. I was told the water was going to be colder, so I expected that to be a little more,
And what was the temperature?
I don't remember what they ended up deciding it was. I think they said 61, and I think it was like 62, 63 before that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people were concerned about the cold. I wasn't particularly, because I swim in cold water all the time. So
Yeah.
Do you wear booties or do
I did
you?
not. I'm tough,
Okay, because there was
man.
Yeah. Damn straight.
Well, I heard there was a big debate online beforehand. A lot of people were FedExing booties, right before the race. So
Yeah, it was, they're just as tough as I am.
people.
Yeah, I did see people on Facebook going, should I wear my booties? And I mean, for some people run really cold. So yeah, I'm sure that booties would be, and I did see a few people with the neoprene caps on, but it's what you're used to too. I mean, if you're coming from a warmer water area, it would probably be shocking. And I'm sure the temperature of the water probably did affect some people out there. But me personally, it was fun.
I'm sure you were flying along. I mean, that river was moving.
Yeah. And, I tried to stay more focused this time and not let the stuff around me distract me, where the first year I did a lot of sightseeing down the river, So, this time I was, well, it's cool to see stuff from the river that you never saw before.
Yeah. This year you had a job to do. So
yes. Yeah. So it was, concentrate on the swim. Went in with the group that was an hour 10, hour 20. Tim had suggested I go for the hour 10 mark. And with the knowledge that I don't have a lot of problem in the water. I don't care if people kick me and climb on me and all of that. That doesn't bother me. So he was pretty confident that I'd be fine with it, where I know some people freak out with that kind of stuff. So it was a good spot for me to be for my start. So, and
so for folks on the line, 57 minutes, right? Like insane. Right. When you got out of the water, did you look at your watch and go, that's not right?
You're like,
or
did you like,
it's not working.
57 minutes.
I was like, yes.
I believe I was going to say, do we know what the pros
Hawaii
did?
Well, the pros in Hawaii was doing like a 56 minute. I know they're doing it in ocean, but just to put in perspective for people, 57 minutes on a normal body of water is pro level, like speed. Like this is insane.
I think the fastest guy, because he got out before we started,
insane.
And I think they said like 34 minutes.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
It was fast.
I'm sorry.
With a jet engine. I mean,
it would just be like this. It'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't even know if he made the turn. I don't know if he flew right past. It was crazy.
So one of the things you were concerned about also was the new transition for T1, because they had carpets and everything else. And I think it was about 15 minutes you had between the swim and the bike. Just get through all the stuff. Yeah.
It was really nice. I mean, you would have loved it because you didn't have to do that run up the hill and the whole thing to the ballpark. Basically came up the ramp. The swim was a little bit shorter this year because they had an issue where they wanted to put the ramp in that there was a eucalyptus tree stuck in a big limb, and they couldn't get it out. So they just moved the ramp in front of it. So it made the swim a tiny bit shorter. I mean, not significant. So you had a little more of a run on the dock than normal, or walk, because if you run on the dock, you could end up back in the water.
Back in the water.
Yeah, no kidding. Slick,
but right up the ramp, and then they had the wetsuit peelers.
Strippers,
right?
Strippers. Can't call them strippers.
And my guy, he's telling me, take it below your hips, and I don't know what the heck he's saying to me. I just sit down on the ground, and he's like, it's okay. It went. They were gone. I was like, yes, let's go.
Hang on to your suit and let them pull that off.
Exactly. That is such a small thing that you don't think about, but it is such a big deal to be able to, you just lie down and like a turtle and they just rip that thing off, and you're like, you're like, all right, bless.
Next.
It is the best thing ever. I recommend if anybody's ever going to do one of these things, make sure that there's somebody going to peel off your wetsuit.
It's just so much nicer.
It saves so much time.
It does. And it's just, and cramps, because your calf, like I get a calf cramp if I try to step out of my thing too much. I don't know where it goes.
And no matter what you do when you're stepping on it, for some reason, it decides it's going to hang on to that one end.
Exactly.
Just super grippy at that point, not going anywhere.
So you got on the bike, you're feeling good about it, you're rocking and rolling.
Run over to, transition, went through transition, did a good job of not talking to people. Got my stuff on and off, and headed
off
out
to the bike.
Over to the bike.
How was the weather at that point? Was it windy? It was overcast, wasn't it?
We had like sprinkles on our way to the venue.
Okay.
And then it was overcast. It wasn't bad. I think there was a little bit of sprinkling when we're waiting for the swim, but everybody's like, that's not a big deal because you're going to be in the water anyhow.
You're wet.
Who cares?
So it was nice. I mean, it was a pleasant overcast day.
Good.
And then, get on the bike and head out. And it's nice. I mean, I guess there was a little bit of a headwind. I always get confused me, the only way I can tell if it's a headwind or a tailwind, I have to look at my watch. I'm like, oh, I'm going a little slower. Must be a headwind. But
it wasn't, I mean, the good news, how are you feeling when you're getting, a few miles into the bike, you're kind of settling in and that kind of thing. Did you feel, pretty comfortable at that point?
I did. I was very comfortable. I was fueling like crazy. I was taking in my, nutrition. I was very happy with that. And then in my head, I just kept thinking about the segments, doing it in quarters. And beans, I knew the route. That made it even better.
Yeah.
Because, I knew when I would be coming up on the turnaround and when which turns were which and all that.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. I was passing some people, which was unusual
Look at you.
for me. I know people were passing me too, but I didn't care about that part. I like the part that I'm like, I'd actually come up behind somebody and I'm like, okay, watching that gap thing. And then I'm like, I think I need to pass them. Okay, that means I got to pedal harder. pedal, get around.
Did you get to say on your left?
Yeah. I'm
that's left. The best, isn't it? On your left.
Awesome. Passing people.
But it's so funny because I'm so used to being passed and not passing people that I'm like, okay, I think I can make it past them. I don't want to mess them up,
Yeah.
So
it seems like, I mean, just from your short time that you've been talking, it's been an interesting way that you talked about it last year as you're talking about it this year. To your point, you were focused on, and it's almost like it seems like your state may have been last year. You're not quite sure if you're going to be able to finish this thing, right? Where it sounds like this year you had confidence that you were going to get it done, right? So because of that, you kept sort of, there's more of a focus because you needed to do that because you had a chance, where it seems like last year you may have felt like you may not had a chance. So this one, like you had a shot. It seems like the way you're talking, and tell me if I'm wrong, but like this focus was the idea like, look, I'm going to get this thing done. Right.
Well, I think last year I had no doubt that I'd be able to do it. But I didn't know what I was doing either. I had never done anything at that big of a scope.
Yeah.
So in my head, of course I was going to finish because that's just me. That's my personality. But to this year, I definitely had a stricter zone plan. I knew what I needed to do to get off the bike in time. I knew that I needed that padding for the walk because I knew I wasn't going to be able to run. Right. So it's definitely much more focused and just having the other one under my belt. But I'm just kind of naive where I'm like, yeah, of course you can go do that.
What the heck? Why not? And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you need to be naive. So maybe the other way to think about it is everything was new. Like you said, your lens was really wide last year because you're trying to take everything in, where since most of it, you can be like here. So
right. And anyway. I mean, for me, it was just, I wasn't even thinking about like my speed on the bike. It was more about, this is the amount of time I need. This is when I need to be off the bike. So I wasn't even looking at the time that was ticking away. I was looking at, okay, am I going to make it by the 5 o'clock that I want to be off the bike?
Yeah.
And holy cow. I mean, even with the rain and everything, I got it done. Cooking, but I was moving, I guess, on the bike. Everybody was shocked that they're watching the little dot thing and they're like, hey, you were so fast even in the rain. I'm like, oh no, I was just
pedaling. So when did the rain start? I mean, how many miles in did it start?
The rain, I think it hit on the second loop because we came through on the first loop. I don't think I was 60 miles yet. And then Tim was at my bag. Thanks, Coach Tim. And he helped me get my special needs stuff. And then went back out for the second part. And then it starts raining. But then it's like, because we're all of us are thinking, chance of rain. Oh, it's going to sprinkle. It's not going to be anything. Holy moly, the sky opens up. You got this I was so wet. I couldn't believe how wet I was. And I'm watching my front wheel and the water's just doing this
spraying.
But it was my first time ever really riding in the rain.
Wow.
And so, because why would I ever go out and ride in the rain on purpose? So I was just like, oh my gosh, this is actually kind of nice. I don't mind the rain.
It's not, if it's a warm rain, it's not terrible, right? Because your body core temperatures, you're
wet anyway,
right?
Because you're wet anyway.
So
especially here.
It was, of course, I don't know. I'm just probably one of those people that thinks a lot about things and feeling stuff and all that. And while I'm riding, I'm noticing the water that's coming up off the asphalt is kind of warm. So it's like there's this heating effect coming from the bottom to keep you warm. So I'm like, that's not too bad either.
That's not bad either. And you can pee on the bike and nobody knows it. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe not that part.
I did not do that.
Okay, well, I'm just saying you could if you wanted to. You could. Cool.
Yeah, because you're already wet. Nobody's gonna.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
definitely. So when you get to mile 99, there has to be something in your head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What were you thinking?
Did you mark it when you?
I know exactly where that spot is.
You know that point. Yeah.
Well,
so when you got to that point,
it's not a hard point to miss because where it is, there's actually, I don't know if it's a winery or there's something there with a big sign, and it's right before you make the turn onto Babel Slough. So there's no way I'll ever forget that spot. So of course I've seen it a few times before, during practices and stuff. But when the first time I came by it, I'm like, yeah, there's that spot, let's go around again. And then as I went by, I said, bye, mile 99.
Nice. You are no longer part of my story.
Check that off.
So, and then as you come up around Babel Slough, they have the 100-mile sign there.
Nice.
So it's like, yes. There it is, 100 miles that I'd never ridden before in my life, right? So
that's awesome.
A lot of firsts this
week. That's good.
Nice.
So when you got to the T2 transition, hopefully you sort of gave yourself a cheer. What was that kind of feeling like as you got off the bike? You're like, I can't believe I just did that.
Actually, I was just so focused.
Look at you, focused.
I know. It's just like in there, of course, when I came into T2, there's family around, and I mean, gosh, there's so many people out there. It was so awesome. But we're coming up to the line, the dismount line. They've got one person there, and they're not slowing you down ahead of time. And you know how you're trying to watch to see where the dismount line is?
Yeah.
Poor lady must have been like so hoarse by the end because she's yelling.
Get
off, slow down. And it's like, oh, hello, So
doing this.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't do that when you're clipped in, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I did it once in my life. I almost got new teeth.
Is it still raining at this point, or has it stopped?
No, the rain has subsided, which was okay. That's awesome. I had packed an extra pair of dry socks. So I was like, okay, my initial idea was I was going to take off my bike shirt and leave on my sleeves that I wore on the bike because I figured that would keep me warm on the run, right? In case it was cold out there. Well, they're drenched. They're so wet. I'm just like, okay, so peel that all off, take off my bike shorts, and I wear my tri shorts under my bike shorts. So I have my tri shorts still on, which is a good thing, bad thing, because that's where some of the issues have come in because they were a little too wet.
A little too wet, a little bit of chafing.
Yeah. So, and I didn't go to the changing tent. I just did all my stuff right there by the bike. And then I put my shoes in my dry socks on, which that was a challenge because the carpet, it's on top of really like big gravel rocks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it had rained so hard that as you're stepping down, you're seeing the water go whoosh out of the stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to balance and stand on a shoe while you're trying to put your socks on and not put your foot down into the water. It was
after 112 mile bike ride, by the way.
Yeah. So if anybody was watching, it was probably the most comical thing in the whole world.
If anyone has videos, please send them our way.
Please
so
send
we can post them up. So your stuff's in a bag, your run gear's in a bag and it's hanging up. Now it just got rained on. Was it dry? Did you have any kind of cover on it besides, or did it get a little bit of wet?
I was lucky my bag did not get wet inside. Nice. I don't know how, because I mean, they had us having our run bags right underneath our butt where our bikes would be. And I had it tied, but not like super tight or anything. Cause I seriously did not think we were going to have this rain. I got really lucky that my stuff wasn't that wet. I understand some people weren't as lucky that they got some pretty wet stuff coming out of their bags.
Yeah, because that's always an issue. Because the bag is kind of open on the top, and there was ways that if you knew it was going to rain, you duct taped or you taped or you put a plastic bag over that to kind of seal it off. So I was wondering if yours had gotten wet. So you got lucky with that. Good. That's fortunate.
I got very lucky. And so, go and get out a tee to come out. And of course, there was everybody, yay,
Yay. Yeah. And what time was that? What time did you?
I got in off the bike. I think it was 4:45, 4:47. So I was out onto the run probably about 2 or 3 minutes after 5. So, okay. I was like, so
you hit your goal that you wanted.
So
you
were
5 off the bike. Got
right
it.
On.
I was so on track on my swim and run my bike a little ahead that I was feeling actually really relaxed. Hey, I learned how to eat my Smucker's Uncrustable without getting it all over me and writing. You leave the bag and you bite on the bag and it swishes up into your mouth. Amazing. If anybody needs that.
There you go.
That's new.
Another first.
Yeah. Another first. I was very proud of myself. I ate 2 of those. Oh,
no, that's fantastic.
2 of those without stopping. So good.
Well, I was going to tell you, the one thing I saw on people on the transition bags that I thought was the coolest thing ever is they get Dixie cups and they put the string through the Dixie cup and that covers the hole.
Brilliant.
And then they tie it. And then you untie it, peel the Dixie cup off. And I'm like, that's the smartest damn thing I've ever seen.
That's good.
Like insanely smart.
Yep.
I think you need to do a whole show on hacks on how to survive.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
A multi-distance thing.
We'll do that. You're right.
I like that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I put all mine in a 2.5 gallon Ziploc anyway.
Yeah.
Even if it's dry, because then it keeps it separate. So I have because I'm really anal retentive. So my pre-packing is probably 15 2.5 gallon bags that are full of cycling gear, running gear. And I'll put it in a separate bag. Like, okay, if it's cold, this is going to be my cold weather stuff. So when I peel it out of my transition bag, I'm not peeling everything out. That's the Ziploc that has just the arm warmers. And then, but the Dixie cup thing I saw in Oregon, I thought that was the most brilliant thing ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that one.
That.
Anyway, so we're on the walk, run, walk,
right.
run.
Yeah,
feeling pretty good. It's 5 o'clock. How'd your body respond?
Fine. I mean, transferring over onto my feet was fine. I mean, it's amazing to me. I'm going to give all credit to Coach Tim on my conditioning because my legs never got tired on the bike.
Oh, that's great.
I felt good. So getting onto my feet, obviously not having to run is nice. Started the walk, and the course was really cool and different in that as you're going out for your first, start, everybody who's been out for a while, you've got the second timers coming by. I mean, there were so many people doing this back and forth. Crazy. There's so much energy. It's absolutely amazing. So I, come out, see my family, and then start heading down. And there's Tim, of course, jumping up and taking pictures, and Michelle's there. And so, that's all fun.
Yeah.
And then head out, get going. They had us go. So, how I was kind of worried about the under the bridge and all the dirt and stuff. Yeah, they had us going down a hill that was kind of like this instead of there's another gradual one. It was further.
Yeah.
I think my husband's stuff is like dinging on me. I'm on his computer.
There you go.
So sorry, guys.
No, we're not hearing it, so it's all good.
You're not.
That's okay.
Good.
No, not at all.
On this
Perfect.
side. Oh, excellent. Yeah. Perfect. So you go down this like hill thing and then go under the bridge, and then so the course is, I would call it rolling hills spread out, not flat, okay, for running, because there's a lot of ups and overs and things that you go through. So you go down, you're heading out, and there's people all over the place, and you're heading down through West Sacramento, and everything's great. I'm feeling good. I'm probably not walking as fast as I'd like to. But it's all going good. You get out to the turnaround and come back, and then the rain hits again.
Oh, no kidding.
It was spectators.
And that's where you started cussing me.
Got it. Oh, spectators were flying and running, and everybody was like, it was monsoon rain. It was, It wasn't California rain. It was, let's see how wet we can get the place. So at this point, you're like so happy that you changed out of your bike stuff and you've got dry socks.
Yeah.
And guess what? You don't have dry.
You don't have dry socks.
Hanging down. Lucky I did choose to wear a hat because I thought it might rain. So I figured keep the,
keep it out of your eyes.
I did not put my glasses back on because I had taken those off during the ride. It's like ride blind, hope for the best.
Oh God.
Luckily, I can kind of see, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
I didn't hit anybody.
That's good.
Hey,
that you know of.
Yeah, not that I know of. Yeah, I didn't feel any thumps.
What was that? I don't know. Squirrel? I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
So anyway, so at that point we're wet, and then we head out towards Discovery Park. And the cool thing was when I started the run, it was still light out.
Nice.
That's nice, isn't it? Right? That's pleasant.
This is weird. And even like on the ride near the end, because there was, the clouds were coming in and out, it would get dark and I'd be like, what time is it? It's getting dark. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not going to make it. But, and I forgot to tell you, out on the ride, after the rain went away, there was an incredibly beautiful rainbow from one side to the
that's
other.
neat.
So that was absolutely gorgeous.
Nice.
So,
that's awesome. It's a sign. It was a sign.
It was a sign. It was a sign that just said, "This is beautiful, and we're going to rain on you again."
Yeah.
Just a warning. Maybe it was
just a warning. Yeah. The other half of this rainbow is more rain.
Yeah, it's over here.
It's over here. It's going to come over here. Yeah. So the rain hits you and you're just like, did it significantly slow you down at that point? Or was it like just more a mental?
Yeah, I'd say it slowed me down. Plus I was having I needed to stop at the bathroom a few times, things going on. So that was kind of slowing me down a little bit too, because let's face it, the porta potties aren't the best, and the toilet paper they decide to put in there isn't the best.
Yeah.
And getting your tri shorts up and down is always a challenge,
especially when they're wet and it's gross.
So
well, I know it's gross to sound, but this is a real. I mean that's what happens, right? You get GI distress. You got to deal with that. It's just a fact of endurance training. It's just racing. It's just
So because I really put some thought into what could have I done different besides run that could have got me through that quicker, and there really wasn't anything that I could have changed to make a difference because I did not screw around. So but the rain, I would say, slowed me down. The chafing that was occurring because of the wet shorts and being soaked.
Oh, that totally slow you down. That will totally slow you down.
Man, that hurts.
Yes.
It does.
Not pleasant. Not pleasant at all.
Yeah.
But so as you're going into Discovery Park, because we've had this pouring down rain, there's a certain area on the trail that has flooded completely over. So you've got this great big puddle. And so everybody's trying to negotiate the puddle. It kind of, the trail's here and there's grass. You can't see my hands. The trail's here and the grass is over here. So even if you wanted to go to the grass, it's all mushy too.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard I tried to like find the high spots, I would kind of flop over.
Find the low spot.
Find the low spot.
So at some point, you just got to go,
you just run through
wet
it
is wet.
Point, you're like, I can't get any more wet.
Deep in water, right? And so you get through that part, and then you go up into Discovery Park, which it actually went up further into Discovery Park than I thought it was going. And there were some really dark areas, which is,
Did you have a headlamp with you, or?
I did. I had two lights on me.
Good.
I knew the situation. They did have some overhead lighting, but there were still some dark areas. And for me, being a local, I know where people are and what things are going on in Sacramento on the trails. So I'm not like freaked out about it, where I'm sure if you weren't a local, some of the sounds in the bushes might freak you out.
Might freak you out a little bit.
Yeah.
So what was that?
It was amazing last year on how many people didn't have headlamps in an area that doesn't have lighting. And there was a giant, I forgot which company, but there was a pretty major sponsor that had a bucket full of headlamps, and people weren't taking them. And I'm like, we're in the dark. Like, this is a trail. This isn't you know. it was, yeah. So I'm glad to know that at least you were safe and you had the headlamps. And
and the thing was, I saw a lot of people too that didn't have lights, and they did not give out headlights this year.
That's funny.
I didn't see them anywhere.
Yeah.
So there, especially late when I was coming back on the second round, there was somebody running out there. I almost didn't see them. It was so dark in that area, and they had no light. I had a reflective thing on. I was like, hello, here I am, you know?
Yeah.
So, but
so when you're coming back on the second loop, I mean, when you started doing math, when did the math not add up? I guess, when did you kind of realize that I don't know if we're going to get this?
I'm thinking I'm coming back out of Discovery Park on that first loop, and my husband's up at the top of where you come into Old Town Sacramento, and he's checking on me to see if I'm okay. He kind of walks the edge with me and keeps, and I'm like, I'm doing okay. I said, I was starting to feel like, hey, this sucks. But
about that time, that sounds appropriate. That's an appropriate spot for that to be coming into your head.
He said, I said, I'm going to head over, into the second loop, and the one part is there's a lot of people still around.
Yeah.
When you go over into West Sac, it's not so bad. But I had said to him, I'm a little nervous about going back into Discovery Park with less people. Because it's the tail end of people at this point, where before there's a lot of action, so you're not as worried about it. So he says, well, I'll catch you when you get back from the other side. And when I got back around, at that point, I'm just like, everything is like wet and hurting. And I'm just like, I really don't want to go back into Discovery Park. And he said, I'm going to walk out there because I don't trust you out there by yourself. I just don't like it. And what
a good man.
Yeah. And I actually had mentioned to him, I hadn't seen a lot of official people out on the trail other than, your aid stations. So it really kind of did feel a little isolated out there. He walked that part with me, which thank goodness he did. My fueling was terrible on the running part.
Just because of the rain and everything, and
between the rain and every time I ate something, my stomach kind of went,
we're done.
And I was like, I ended up with doing Coke and water mostly. I started with like the potato chips. Those worked so good the first 2 times. The third time, I was
your body's done with that. Yeah,
everybody said okay.
Yeah, and this is such a thing you can't train for, right? You don't train for. I mean, that's a very, very difficult to do this kind of thing. You only find out when you find out. It's through experience, really, not through training.
Yeah. Right? So, I did the bananas, I love bananas, and I think bananas are the best food that was ever made. So I did have some bananas, and those were good. I tried a slice of orange, which that kind of, my stomach went, hello, what are you doing? I was like, and I had some grapes. Those were good. And that was fine one time. I tried your chicken broth, Kenny. And? That was the most disgusting thing ever. I
love that stuff. Oh my God, I was so happy. That's hilarious. So
how many people were out there?
I brought the rain, and I told you. So don't listen to me, right? So rain is not better, and chicken broth sucks. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
got it.
Well, it was funny because a lot of the athletes out there were like, "There's chicken broth." They were all excited about the chicken broth too. But I took like 3 sips of it. I was like, "Oh no, this is not working for me."
Yeah, for me, it was not sugar, right? Because everything's sweet, bananas and grapes, and the broth is savory,
salty,
and it's got a bunch of salt in it, right? So.
Right. Yeah, I did the chips for the salty part,
There you go. Executive. Well, I'm sorry that the chicken broth didn't hold up to expectations.
I know. So. I was really looking in the first few aid stations that I passed that had chicken broth. I kind of missed, and I was like, "Dang, I missed the chicken broth." Chicken broth.
And then you're like, "Well, I'm glad I missed it."
I was like, "Ew."
Good thing you missed it then.
I know.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
so you came back on the second lap. Your husband's with you. It hurts. Everything hurts. You just want the damn thing over with at this point. And so you kind of slogged it in. And I understand Tim caught up with you a few miles before the
Yes, and luckily he did, because Jim was really having to keep convincing me to keep moving, because I had finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I don't care if they say I'm an Ironman. I don't care about any of this. My pants are so wet. Everything is nasty. And it wasn't that I was tired. I was just over the whole situation. And so when we finally, before I get to Tim, there's first a police officer on a bike who was the nicest man ever and was encouraging me and telling me, it's not, your body's still going, your body's fine, it's all in your mind. I've done some of these, that light down there, just down there, you gotta go 1.5 miles. And I'm like, I'm trying to be nice to this gentleman who's so nice to me, but
you punched him, didn't you? You punched him, didn't you?
Smiling and
there was something in the papers about that. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God, wouldn't it be great if Elizabeth gets in the cuffs and she do this beautiful story of 99 miles and ends in cuffs at 100, at 18 miles into the run. Got domestic violence and she's punching her husband and then
battery of an officer.
Shut up! Shut
up! I smiled at him and thanked him, but in my head I was just like, shut up. Shut up. You're the nicest guy in the world, but be quiet right now. So as we're coming along then, about that time is when we see, Tim's showing up into the picture and somebody else says, oh, just 1.5 miles. I was like, how many times are they going to tell me it's 1 mile?
Yeah.
1.5 miles to the next aid station. It's to the 1.5 miles to the finish, right?
It's like, stop lying to me. So at that point, Jim kind of dropped to the side because he was happy that Tim was there to take over, because there was nothing Jim was going to say that was going to help me at that point. And Tim, took the reins of, you got it. What do you got in there? You got the gas. We got some extra fuel. This is where you got to dig deep. You got to do this. Yeah. And I was just like, I feel like I'm going to throw up. I don't want to. I was not the happy camper I normally am.
Well, but, we found Elizabeth's edge right there. So, but I understand though, they kept it open. The finish line kept open for you, right? Yes, so when you turned that corner and you saw the lights and you're hearing that has got to just be an adrenaline rush.
You would think so.
You were too far gone.
I know. I kept waiting.
She was bonked. It sounds like you were completely bonked.
People were telling me.
That's funny.
I guess that's good.
I did start to run because it was the way the finish line was there. You ran down next to it and then you turned around and then you came back into the chute. So Tim, was talking me through this part, and then he goes, go down to the turnaround and then I'll catch you on the way back. And I did start to run. Wasn't a very good run. It wasn't successful. It was faster on the little time thing. And then I came back around and you hear that they're counting down, and there was a guy in front of me with his friend. Oh my gosh, that poor gentleman. He was sideways for so many miles in front of me. He was holding onto his friend's shoulder. I was just like, I was dying for him. So they go through the chute before me, but they're counting down the time. That poor guy. I think it was like 7 seconds or after the 17-hour mark, right?
Oh, wow.
He doesn't get, you're an Ironman either. Just, hey, good job. You're awesome.
Good job.
Right?
As you say.
Right? And so then I'm just a few seconds behind him, and I was trying, but once they got to a certain amount of seconds, I was like, there's no way I'm making it in time. So it was like, all right, we'll make a good show of this, run up the ramp, put the arms in the air. And of course they were telling all, the story, the 99-mile thing and all that, which was very sweet. They were very nice, cool. With the announcement. But once I went over the finish line, I wasn't expecting a medal. I wasn't expecting any of that because I hadn't made the cutoff, So I hadn't got to hear you are an Ironman, So, but as I come across, I had done the interviews with BCC Live, and they were there, but there's nobody really around catching, because this is it, right? It's
you're at the end of the
night. And they put the guy on a chair that was practically dying of falling over. And I'm standing there, and one guy's talking to me, and I start to walk away. He goes, where are you going? I said, I want to sit down. And then I folded up chair. I'm going to go get that chair. Oh, no, there's a chair. Come on, guys. I did just finish Ironman distance.
Yeah, you did.
For crying out loud, give me a chair.
But once I sat down, they actually did come over and gave me the medal and the shirt and the hat.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, so that was all really nice that they did that, because I was like, I didn't make it in time. And I know everybody's been all over me about, for me, I didn't make the cutoff, you know, so in my head, I didn't do it, but everybody else like, yes, you did. So
well, and I'm probably going to echo that, because before we got on, I was talking to Tom about this. I mean, you know, you get somebody that's 35 years old, that's in relatively good shape, that goes and does this and gets the middle of the pack, and they say you're an Ironman. It's like, you have no business being out there, right? I mean, you look at your age, you look at your, you know, your meniscus tear, you look at, you know, the speed you're going, you have no business doing that, none whatsoever. You swam faster than I can ever swim. You nailed the bike. You took that 99 miles and you slayed that dragon. You did the complete distance. You have a medal. You are the definition of Ironman.
Oh, thank you.
Agreed.
No question about it. There's no question.
Yeah.
No question. Sure. They said his list. Now, I understand inside you're like, but I didn't hear the words.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to ask you, it's almost like asking, you know, a woman that just gave birth, like a day after she gave birth, is she going to have another one? But do you feel like you need to hear that? Is that sort of like something you got to sit down and think about? Or is it like, that hurt too much? Let's not talk about that until
I'm good.
next year.
Check that box. Let's go. Yeah.
So the ridiculous thing about me is, you know, when at the finish line, I'm sitting there and I'm being, you know, interviewed again, and then they turn off everything. And there were 3 guys that worked for the video production company, and they, one of the kids even jokingly turned to Jim and said, "Yeah, she's going to do it again next year." And I was like, "No, I am not doing this again next year." But now that these days have gone, what, 2 days gone?
2 whole days, yeah.
I will not do it next year. I am going to get my knees looked at, see what kind of work would be done on those. Because even when I was out there dying, all I kept thinking was, if I could run this, I could do this. There'd be no question about it. Sure. And if I could get somebody to teach me to run faster and be an efficient runner, I could really do this. So in the back of my head, I don't think Jim really realizes this yet.
Okay, we don't tell him. We won't tell him.
Yeah.
He won't watch this anyhow.
Thanks, Jim.
Think I'd like to try again if I can get my knees where they need to be in 2025. I would like to try to do California one more time, and I want to hear you are an Ironman. And I know it's ridiculous, guys.
No, it's not ridiculous. It's
go ahead.
No, it's not. I mean, it's the first one I did in Arizona. The only thing that kept me going the last 6 miles was hearing Mike Riley tell me I'm an Ironman.
Yeah.
And if you look at one of the photos of here, that one, I'm literally jumping across the line. And when he said it, I looked straight at him. I said, "You're goddamn right I am." So, I didn't mean to say that. I'm like, God, I'm kind of an asshole. Wow. I did. I yelled it at him. I'm like, "You're goddamn right I am." You know, I was like, okay, I'm aggressive. I get it. The security took me away. Yeah. Mike's like, "Hey, man." So, you know, I never got to get within 300 yards of Mike Riley, but still so I get that feeling. I get that idea. But don't discount.
Go ahead.
Just don't discount what you did. I mean, it's incredible. You are an Ironman. Yeah. It's just now you need to get it on the record books, right? So.
Right. And I have to brag, I've been very close to him. I bought his book and had him sign it. I have a picture with him. You know, he may never said my name, but
at least you're allowed near him. I mean, that restraining order
I don't get that.
At least 2030.
The court order says not.
So. I was going to say, I heard Kenny has a restraining order.
Yeah, it's just one. Just one. So,
just one.
I think there's a statute of limitations coming up too, so that's good. So.
I think 2030 is when that expires, isn't it? That's somewhere around there,
like that. Well, we are in awe and super proud of what we have been. I mean, we've been following you by February?
Yeah, I think
was
so.
it?
It's been, somewhere around there.
Just watching the highs and lows of just getting to the line, and then the exuberance I was feeling for you when I'm on the tracker and I'm like, oh my gosh, that swim is insane. And then she's keeping a consistent pace on that bike. And then when I saw that, I think it was a 102-mile check-in, I'm like, she did it. I mean, past the 99. Now let's get her to the line. And then the sort of like watching you on the tracker as you're walking, I'm like, oh crap. We're like, oh crap. Right. And then hearing from Tim that, torrential downpour hit. He's like, it's raining. He went to the car. He said,
yes,
he's like, I'm like, great coach. You may be suffering. I don't have to.
Car, everybody vacated.
Vacated the whole thing.
But just watching you do that and to hear it, I mean, I love your spirit. I love it is a dichotomy. You did it. You did the distance. You're an Ironman, but I know what you mean by that. That still there's that itch there that hasn't been scratched yet. Yeah. And that may be the fuel you need. Right. And I like the fact you're waiting till next year to just kind of, or you're waiting a couple of years, like get your knee healed,
get healthy. Yeah.
Get healthy, get where you can feel comfortable with a decent run, or at least a run walk kind of deal, and get at it in 25. Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations completely. It's been a blast following you along. I mean, this has been like, he was texting me and I was driving back from a trip, and we're following on the tracker and right? But we were back and forth tracking you, and he was sending me texts and we're back and forth. So it was exciting on our end to follow along on that. So
I do have a question. Were you actually awake when I was going across?
No, not at all.
Okay, no. Okay, good.
Look, we're on Central Time.
We're a couple hours early.
I gave up at 11 o'clock our time. That was about 9 o'clock your time. Yeah. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm an old man.
I'm glad, because I wouldn't have stayed up either.
Well, and Tom has an excuse. So, I mean, Tom ran 100 miles on Friday and Saturday. So
we still
I got a sore foot and a sore butt. I'm talking to. I feel great, by the way. I feel
you have no.
I had a whiskey. I was watching football. I was good.
Yeah, you were good, but
I was dry, comfortable.
Years, right?
On that note, anyway, so yes, congratulations. We are blessed to been part of this journey, and I hope people online have enjoyed it as well. I know that we have. I hope the BBC enjoys it as well. Those jerks. We didn't have a film crew, Tom. Next time we need to get a film crew.
No, we're going to work on that. It's not.
Our budget just isn't quite for the film crew.
Maybe next year we can pinch for a film crew.
Yeah, film crew
along. Yeah.
That whole situation was really interesting in that I did not know what that was.
They just contacted you and said,
"Hey."
Yeah, it was, at first I Googled to see who this company was this real, what's going on. And then I thought that they were just going to interview me and I was going to be part of a montage with other athletes. And then at the opening ceremony, suddenly and our spotlight athlete, Elizabeth Simi from Fair Oaks, California. And there's a whole thing on me talking and on this big screen. And then it finishes. And of course, people who know me are turning around I get totally embarrassed. And
at that point, everybody knows you.
Yeah. And then they had me stand up, is Elizabeth Simi here? And of course, somebody I know is right in front of me and they're pointing at me. I'm like,
yeah, thank you.
But, so I had to stand up. And I mean, it was really cool, but it was so damn embarrassing.
Something else to think about.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, and it was because they were there before the race, which was really unnerving for me because I was like, I need to get my stuff where it needs to be. I need to get on the bus,
Yeah.
You know how you are at the beginning of the race. You're just like, I need to get my stuff done. This is all cool, but guys, I got to get moving type thing. Yeah. But it was a little more than I anticipated. I thought I was part of a little group thing. I didn't know that I was
you're a star.
The spotlight.
You're a star. You're famous.
Just like the pros.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, that's what happened to me. I did an Ironman, but this other thing.
The other thing.
It's my day job, my acting job. I'm a star.
That's funny.
And I have to say, you guys, this has been such a blast, and I look forward to talking to you guys all the time. And I talk to you guys about you guys like, the guys. And my husband's like, who are you talking about?
Who are you talking about?
Oh, he said the podcast people. And then I'll be like, Kenny and Tom.
That's funny. The podcast people. Those guys.
I like it.
That's funny.
I like it. So
but
yeah.
No, it's been great, guys. I've really enjoyed this. And
thanks for sharing all of this stuff. I mean, thanks for sharing the highs and the lows. And that was the thing that we had talked about in the very beginning, is we want to know the lows, because that's what I know we relate to and everybody else can relate to, is like, it's not all perfect. It never goes the way you really want it to go. It's very rare for that to happen. And to be able to follow along where it was going great and where it wasn't going great, and then it was going great again, and all of that stuff I think, thank you for being willing to share all of that with everybody, because I think that's important. I think that's what everybody needs to hear. So, and thanks everybody for your comments and your thumbs up, 5 stars, all the ratings and that stuff. Please keep doing that. Subscribe to the audio version, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. There'll be a button floating around here someplace. Keep posted, because we'll have more athletes next year. We'll follow some more athletes as they do their triathletes journey and go through. But yeah, thanks again, Elizabeth and Kenny, as always. It's fantastic. So for everybody, we'll catch you on the next one.